Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and today we're going to address one of the issues that happens a lot with people that work on their own reels and lose their way and wind up selling the reels at flea markets or other places. And that is this eccentric lever. Right now the eccentric lever was installed incorrectly and it doesn't work. So the reel as a result is stuck. And well, we're going to show you how to set that properly so that the reel can function as designed. You can tell it's set incorrectly because the stud on the eccentric lever is facing outward. It belongs to face inward, and of course it can't face inward the way it's installed because it's hitting on the side. Well, so let's get started here. This is a Penn Model 85. It's an earlier version. It has a wooden knob handle, which kind of tells you a little bit about the age. The wooden knob handles were generally disconnected after World War II, discontinued, and well, they were replaced by those torpedo plastic or Bakelite handles. Now it looks like somebody had this reel apart. They wanted to clean it up. One of the failure points on these older reels was the plating for the Model 85s was not as substantial as for the 285s and the Long Beach, which share a lot of the technologies. And well, it starts to chip and wear after a while, and then it got buffed off here. Not a problem, you just need to be more careful with it if it doesn't have the plating. Also, it looks like when they went to service the reel, they've lost a screw, so we'll take care of that as well during this exercise. We want to focus on the eccentric and how to set that properly, but we're also going to show you how to service the balance of this reel because, well, this reel deserves to get a second chance, deserves to go fishing again. So what I'm doing is I'm taking off the exterior pieces, and as I do that I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button. That'll let you know when I'm posting videos, and you'll have the opportunity to see which ones are posted and make a decision as to whether that's one you want to watch. Well, this reel got messed up in more ways than one here. The screw in the bottom is the wrong screw. That needs to be a short screw. I would suspect that the short screw is over here. And I'm noticing as I look through the reel that, well, the same thing has happened on the other side where we have a long screw down here. That one should be a short screw as well. Well, what we've done is we've removed the side plate. That's where all the action is on this reel. We don't need to spend any time cleaning this one because it looks like it was cleaned and that the error was done in reassembly. But one of the things we want to do is we want to get grease into that side plate adjuster. It's a bearing, and well, you can see here that the jack is not on the stud because the spring is not set properly, and we'll show you again how to take this off and how to set it the right way. All right, I'm going to remove the bridge. I'm going to leave that intact, so we'll show you more of what happened here once we get this piece together. So what I'm doing here applies to almost all Penn reels of this era and design. So it's the Squidders, the Jigmasters, the Long Beach, the Beachmaster, the Baymaster, all of those series of reels, Senators, they all kind of have that same free spool release setup. And if you find a reel at a flea market or a garage sale, or maybe even you have the reel yourself and you have the issue, then this is how to fix it. Well, I just noticed a flat spring came out. I put all my pieces and parts into a parts tray, but that's a flat spring, and that says for sure that the reel was made before 1957 when they converted over to the coil springs. Well, we have some pieces and parts here, so we'll just take care of them. And then we'll go on to service the reel. So what's gone wrong here is that the stud is in the wrong place because the spring is set incorrectly. So what they unfortunately did here was they decided they were going to bolt it back on, and then they probably gave up when they realized that, well, that's not the right way. So let's remove that. And what we're actually going to do with this, since it's already set in, I'm going to move it all the way over to the other side so that I have swing to turn it to the proper position. And it may or may not work. We're going to find out. If not, there's alternate ways to do it, but since this one is seated properly, we're going to go ahead and do that. I just want to get that spring in the right position. To do that, I'm going to just use this lever if I can ever get this screw started here. And this is a good place to tell you, take pictures as you're working on the reel. If you see in your picture that this thing was facing in, don't install it this way. All right, watch what happens now. We're going to rotate this completely around. This spring is going to come up top here. That's the proper set for the spring. However, you'll note that, well, that stud is still under the lip. It can't be set. So what you want to do now is you want to find the balance point, usually about midway, where it's going to stand by its own. Just like that. And once you do that, what you can do is hold the eccentric, remove that screw, flip the lever. And one of the things I'm noticing, if I flip the lever, yeah, they bent it out. So I'm just going to put that into a bench vise here for a moment and restore the right angle to it. These are pretty pliable. I'm just going to use a little dead blow hammer just to give it a little bit of a bend. That's all you needed. Now, with that being held properly now, go ahead and put that back on. Tighten the screw. And now you'll have a release lever that works properly and is set properly. There you go. I'd say I did pretty good. On 2 taps of the hammer, you have the spacing along there so you're not rubbing on that. And here's how your eccentric works properly. Well, let's just do a quick little reinstall of the rest of the pieces just so you can get to see the reel itself. We have the jack, the yoke, and the pinion gear, the dog, and we have the gear sleeve. So the first thing you want to do on a reel this old is just remove that gear sleeve if you can. There's a pin that's holding it in place. Just push it out with an awl. That one was way too cooperating and not always going to come out that easy. I just got a question from one of our viewers looking for the part. We can't seem to find this this little oil washer that sits on the bottom of this bridge in any schematic. We don't know the part number for it. And well, if you know that, it's a little felt washer right there. If you know what that part number is and where to order it, let us know. Because, well, they're working on a Beachmaster, similar aged. They can't find the replacement for that washer, which tore. We're going to take a cotton swab and push that through the bridge sleeve to get the old dirt out of there. And put a light coating of grease onto that shaft. We're going to reinstall the sleeve. And then we're going to put that pin back in. And just push it in all the way. Make sure that you clear the shoulder here. Take a look at these. These are probably going to be the older leather washers. These are in good condition. If you find that you open up these drag stack and these leather washers are not flexible like these are, if they've broken, then they're going to need to be replaced. But in this case, they're fine. When you have a reel that has broken drag washers in it, they must be replaced. There's no alternative to that. Okay, that's your anti-reverse dog. Let's go ahead and take a look at the main gear, check all of the teeth. Well, those teeth are aligned properly, that's fine. underneath there is a washer. It's embedded in the base here. That goes on the gear sleeve. Just wipe it off. That's a spacer washer. And what we can do, we can take a little bit of grease up the main gear. I'm using Penn fishing wheel grease for this. I suggest you use a fishing wheel grease. Doesn't have to be Penn's, but please use the fishing wheel grease when you go to do the work on that. All right, thought that was a washer. It's just a shiny bottom on the main gear. And we have 3 drag washers that are fabric and 3 metals. There's 2 metals that are called keyed washers. They have the rectangular center. The one with the open center is called the eared washer. The eared washer goes in the middle. So we're going to put a drag washer in, then we're going to put the first of the keyed metal washers in. Make sure they seat all the way down. Next up becomes the second one. And we're going to put the one with the ears in it. And there's 2 slots in the main gear here, one on each side that accept those ears or the tags off of that one. Then we'll put the top or second keyed washer on. And then we have a cap washer. This is not a flat washer. Don't try to flatten it out. That provides tension on the star adjuster. There's old grease on the yoke, so we want to clean that up. Just going to use a little bit of some steel wool here to clean that out. That will get into the shoulder on your pinion gear, and it will cause it to kind of drag, so it won't operate very efficiently. So this is a reel that Scott found at a local flea market out in California. And one of the things as a caution as you buy reels from flea markets, garage sales, yard sales, and the like, is you need to check all of the features and functions of a reel before you make an offer price. Don't just kind of fall in love, say, oh, it's got a wooden handle on it, it's an earlier reel, let's go get it. Check. In this case, the eccentric wasn't installed properly and the reel wasn't working. Well, when you're negotiating on a price for a reel like this, you take that into consideration and you don't offer full value on a reel that doesn't work. You're going to know that it needs repair, and repairs, well, they cost money. All right, the inside of the case looks pretty clean. I'm going to just grab a paper towel here and wipe through it. It seems like there's a little bit of grease here that's being a little stubborn, so we'll take that cotton swab and some penetrating oil, see if we just can't work that off. It looks pretty good right now. And the last part that you want to do with this case, oil under the eccentric there where we just kind of reinstalled. And let's put a little bit of grease into the gear side bearing. Okay, let's reinstall. There's 2 small screws, springs, I want to call them screws, I always do. They go into the cavities on each side of the bushing, or bearing rather. When you put the yoke on, the slot from the pinion gear faces out. That's going to accept the spool. Looks like there's a little bit of dirt on the back end of this, so let's just clean that up. Looks like old grease, a little bit on the front here. And again, this is not going to move in and out if you have that grease there. That's got to slide under the bridge. All right, there's a stud on this side that's going to go into the groove here. You're going to bring the eccentric up and then center it, and that's how you install the jack. While you have it open, you can put a little bit of grease here, which is where it's going to slide under the bridge. Next step, let's take care of the bridge. Push down on the yoke assembly, insert the main gear, and turn your bridge plate approximately 90 degrees. Find a fully threaded screw that goes in the bottom here. Get the long anti-reverse dog, And now we have a stud on top here, and we're going to put a flat spring where it's going to ride on the top of the dog, behind this stud, and up on the sidewall. That's the one that came out. So let's go see if we can put it back in properly. If you're dealing with a brand new spring, it's a little harder, but this one comes pre-bent because it's been in there, if you will. But that's how the anti-reverse flat spring goes. Underneath the stud, on top of the anti-reverse dog. Roll that over and get that first screw started. You want to hold that assembly in place. Once you do that, there's 3 more screws that hold the bridge in place. 1 more should be fully threaded and 2 are partially threaded. The partially threaded ones come up top. Again, this practice or design fits all kinds of older Penn reels. So if you've got one by looking at it that has the 4 studs, bridge screws on the outside, and it has a free spool lever that looks like that, chances are that the work that we're doing here in terms of how to balance that eccentric with the spring, how to service the drag washers, and how to reinstall the bridge is going to apply to all of those reels. I get a lot of folks ask me, well, have you done a video on the Delmar or the SeaBoy or the Long Beach 60? If I haven't, the one video I'll reference might be a Penn 60, for example. I'll reference that, and I'll say it applies to your reel, even though that's not the model that you're asking me about. All right, this is a Bakelite spool. One of the problems with this is when it gets dropped, the rims crack. So if you're working on a reel like this, please be careful when reinstalling. Do not mishandle that. I set the free spool to active or on, so it pulls the pinion gear behind the bridge before I install the side plate. You don't have to, but it makes it easier to do it this way. Well, we know we're missing 1 screw. We're just going to put these back in. We'll find a screw from my package. I have a bunch of Penn screws because a lot of the reels that I bought as parts reels, and after I've used the right part from the reel, I disassemble the rest and hold them in order to give other reels a second chance. It's a shame somebody started this project, didn't finish the project, because this is going to be a nice reel. We just saw all the drag washers are in good condition, and the gears are fine. So I'm kind of surprised that they ran into that issue and didn't try to find an answer in terms of how to go fix that. Just abandoned it, sold it at a flea market instead. And I get it. Not everybody's mechanically inclined, but somebody had enough trust in their abilities to take it apart, so you would think that they would have the abilities to go try and work the other side of it as well. Okay, I probably just knocked my my camera out of focus, but I'm going to go find one of those screws to replace on the back side here. The only thing that's going to look odd about this one is it's nice and shiny the way that screws are, as opposed to the ones that have been buffed out here. But you need all 4 screws to hold this reel steady. We have a bridge sleeve now that goes on top. We have the star adjuster next. There's 2 sides of the star adjuster. One's got the rounded edges on it, the other's got flat edges on it. It also has a part number on the back of it. Those belong facing the side plate, not facing out. All right, with that on, we'll put the handle back on. If I didn't take that sleeve off and grease that shaft, you would put oil in there now. That is an oil port. Start your screw by hand as best as you can. Tighten down that screw. I'm going to put a little bit of penetrating oil into that handle knob. It is wood, and that will help it to free up any dirt that might be inside. All right, so we know we're in the free spool position. Let's see if it turns. It turns nicely. It's a little tight, so you can take your adjuster screw on this side, which somebody probably feels like they put a little bit of pliers, wrenched it in. Just back it off a little bit. That'll help this spin much easier. Let's put it into gear. That's the on position. And let's give it a spin. Well, there you go. It's hard to see because it's a black reel with a black spool. It's hard to see it spinning, but it's turning nice and easily. And more importantly, we have a free spool now. We have a reel that's working, and it's got a second chance after being abandoned at the flea market for an improperly installed eccentric. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've learned something, and I hope this encourages you when you're shopping for used reels that are in search of repair. Just do a quick evaluation on the issues, if it's within your scope or your abilities to go solve, then I encourage you to do that. This is probably a 70-year-old reel that's ready to go fishing again. So I hope you've enjoyed that. And again, if you like these kinds of things, please subscribe. And if you do subscribe, please use the notification button to see when I'm posting new videos. To all of our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for everything it is that you do to keep us safe. Your efforts are appreciated. To everyone, have fun working on reels, have fun on the water, enjoy the art of fishing and the art of fishing reel repair. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.